Okay, we're going to skip number 1 and look at number 2. Number 2, anytime they want you to find the distance, this is a formula I'd put on your 3x5 card. So you guys make sure you got this. The distance formula is this. It's really triangles, right? 90-degree triangles. A squared plus b squared is c squared. So your distance formula is this. X minus x squared plus y minus y squared equals c squared. That is your distance formula. On the test, I'm going to give you a big sheet of grid paper. So you can always default by graphing it and putting on grid paper. If they want the distance between these 2 points, you've got to create your own 90-degree triangle. You go one of 2 ways. But what I've got to know is the distance of how tall this is. And you can count them on the grids. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 5 tall. And then I want to know how the distance is horizontally, and that's 3. So now if I look at this 90-degree triangle that I know is 5 tall and 3 wide, and that is your C. That's what I want to find, the distance. So I just go 3 squared plus 5 squared equals C squared. So it's going to be 9 plus 25 equals C squared. 9 plus 25 is 34 equals C squared. But now you got to solve for C. So you square root the right, square root the left. Is anything going to pull out of 34? 34 is 2 and 17. And that's done and that's done. So nothing is going to come out of square root of 34. So your answer, the distance is square root of 34. And it is based on Pythagorean's theorem. So at least everyone can plot points on a grid and make your own 90-degree triangle. Because look at number 3. This is where it gets more abstract. Okay, we're only going to look at one of these, because if you can do one, you can do any of them. So which one do you want to look at, 3 or 4? 4? Okay, look at 4. Now, Josh, look at this. I want to know if I've got a 90-degree triangle without drawing it. If you can do this without drawing it, it's a million times faster. I want to know this right here. I want to know the distance from here to here. Look at your x's. Think of a number line.
So you would do x minus x.
So on a number line, I've got -8 right here, and I've got 3 right here. What is the distance between -8 and 3? How far do you travel from -8 all the way to 3? You either travel a -11 or a positive. Doesn't matter. It does not matter. But you have to square them. So all you do with your x's is you subtract them. So you do 3 subtract a -8, and then you square it. That is going to be your a squared. Now you got to do the same thing with your y's. On the number line, what's the distance between 1 and 3? So you go 1 minus 3. What's 1 minus 3? So 2 or a -2. So it's going to be 11 squared plus 2 squared equals c squared. So you've got 121 plus 4 equals c squared. So you got 125 equals c squared. Square root the left, square root the right. Now c equals square root of 125. But let's bust that up. What is going to 5 times 25. 5 is done. What's going to come out of 25? 5 and 5. So you're going to substitute square root of 125 for 5 cubed. But because it's a square root, if you've got 2 or more, you can pull stuff out. So how many 2's are there in 3? 1. So only 1 makes it out. and 1 stays in. That is your answer. That's what we've got to have. Okay, now let's look at midpoint real quick. That's distance formula. Look at number 5. Look at midpoint. So when you think of distance formula, I want you to think of a squared, b squared equals c squared, Pythagorean theorem. When you think of midpoint, what should you think of? I would write this formula down on your 3x5. Average. So on your 3x5, you got the distance formula. The midpoint formula is this. It's just x plus x divided by 2. And your y's are going to be y plus y divided by 2. So if you are interested in finding the average of something, you just add them and divide them by how many there are. So look at this picture. On number 5, this dot right here is over 4 down 5. But this dot right here is left 1 up 5.
Is that supposed to be 5?
Yeah, that's 5. So what is the average of my x's? On the number line, if I'm at -1 and I travel to 4, what's halfway between a -1 and a 4? So -1 and a 4, you add them. You divide by 2 and you get 1.5. And now what's halfway between your y's? This guy. Okay, what about what's halfway between your y's? Look, your y's, you're clear up of 5 and you travel all the way down to -5. What's halfway between that? This y, add this y. 0. What's 5 add a -5? Divide by 2. So your midpoint should happen right here. Your x is 1.5, but your y is 0. No, it's got to be exact 1 point. So right there is halfway. Decimal. Decimal or a fraction. Doesn't matter. Either way, you'll get full credit. So exactly, midpoint of this line happens at over 1.5 and up 0. Now let's look at one like this. What about without a picture? Let's look at 8. What's the midpoint of this? That's good. What is the midpoint of 8? Josh, if you're not looking at a picture, if you're looking at this, I want to find the middle.
So you gotta do 7 plus 9.
7 plus 9. Look on your number line. Just think of this. You're at 7. Some of these you can do easy in your head. Here's 7. Here's 9. What's midway between 7 and 9? No. It's got to be bigger than 7 but smaller than 9. Right in the middle of 7 and 9 is 8, right? So this is 8. What is halfway between your y's? If you're at -6 and -9, what's halfway between your y's? 7.5? -6, add -9. It's -15 divided by 2 is -7.5. So midway between your x is 8. Midway between your y is -7.5. Whoever can answer this problem right here, everybody eyeballs on number 9. If you can figure out 9, I'll give you a treat.
Oh, I know what it is. Beautiful things.
So there's 1 in between -5 and -6. So there's 1 in between your x's, and then your y's, there's 4 in between your y's. So then you count down 1 from here, so you would have -7. and then you go 4, so it'd be 5. That's how I did it.
Nailed it.
Hey, I got that too.
Oh, it's not paused. Okay, look.
It's not hard.
Look at a visual. So this endpoint right here. This endpoint is at -5.
Okay.
Think of a number line. Look at this. Let's do them two at a time. Let's put -5 right here. -5 is right there. And the middle is -6. So this is an end. Josh, you're bugging. You gotta move. Josh, if this is the end and this is the middle, how far did I travel from the end to the middle? So how much further must I go? If that's halfway,
Wait, did you travel -1?
then you just gotta go one more. Where are you? -7. That's what she got. So look at your y's. Just look at it. Think of a number line. Think of a number line. Okay, here is your end point, -3. So -3 is right there. That is the end. This is your middle. The middle is at 1. So the question is, from -3 to 1, how far did you travel? You traveled 4 times, right? -2, -1, 0, 1. You traveled 4 times, but that's only halfway. So how much further do you have to travel? You got to go 4 more. What is 4 more from 1? 5. So your answer's got to be -7.5. You scramble them up. For a circle, you need 2 things. What 2 things do you need?
Center and point.
Center. Okay, draw it. Everybody draw this. You have got a point in space. Maddie? Any point in space can be found by an XY. But if it is a unique point in space, if it's center, what are we going to use instead of XY? You're going to use HK. This is HK. Okay, that HK, if you are ever coming across an HK, that means that's the dead center of a circle. Now, what else do I need for a circle? You need another endpoint. How many endpoints do you need? So you need... So the definition of a circle, let's try this. The definition of a circle is an infinite number of lines. But what do you know about those lines?
They have to have a center.
Infinite number of lines anchored from the center, and there's something else you have to know about those lines. So they've all got to anchor from the center and must be equal in length. They all have to anchor to some HK, and they all have to be the same size, the same length. So look, draw a few of them. If you go from here to here, this endpoint is in space. We're going to label it some X and some Y. But if you take off again and you go the same distance, R, whatever R is, if you go the same thing here, we're going to call this X. It's not the same X and same Y, right? It's a different one. So it's got to be X1, Y1. And if you have one coming off here that's the same distance, R, it's an X2, Y2. So how many of these X's and Y's do you have? You have an infinite amount. You got a line here. This is the same length r, but this is x3, y3. So these little subscripts mean it's a different x and y than your x1, y1. They're totally different. They're two different numbers, two different values. So, on your 3x5 card, I would definitely for sure have the formula of a circle. Can we erase this? The formula for a circle. Okay, how many of these x, y's do you have? You've got an infinite amount. So the general rule for a circle is really a squared plus b squared is c squared. It's going to be which x? Which x? Any of those x's. You need to find, I should not have erased it. You need to find the distance between what?
The sector and
Let me write it in green. So you need to find the distance between any one of these x's and the center. So let's do this. Let's do any one of those x's minus the center, and that is your, you got to square it. That's your a squared plus what?
y minus k.
Any one of these y's minus your k equals, that will give you radius squared. That is your, if you want to solve for r, what do you have to do? If you want to solve for r, you need to do the inverse of a square. You got to square root the left, square root the right. Now, can you make a jump? Can you use that information? I definitely put that on your 3x5 card. Let's do 12. You guys try 12.
With this problem, it's usually x minus 1, but your 1's a negative, so it change that to a plus, so you'd go over 1. And with this one, it's the same like that. It's a negative 2, and you'd go down 2. What'd I do? Okay. Okay. And then and you probably won't know how big your circle is, but that's your midpoint.
How can you find out how big your circle is?
Equal 1.
Equal 1.
Can I do number 11?
Why is it? Okay, 13. If you get one like this on the quiz, you should be grateful, because this is a cakewalk. This is your h, right? This is your k. And this is your... So now I go to my 3x5 card and I see x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared, right? So, x minus what? X minus 16 squared plus y minus a minus 16 squared equals what? 1 squared, which is 1. Now what is this? Minus minus is a plus, right? So look at the equation. If I ask you to give me the center from the equation, why is the center not negative 16, positive 16? The center should be the opposite. Positive 16, negative. Why is the center not this guy and this guy? When you put them into the formula, it changes them to the opposite of what they are. So Matt, let's go back to this. Look at this. What is the center here? Why is the center a -1 and a -2? Because do you know what this really is? This is really x minus a -1 squared plus y minus a -2 squared equals, what is this if we want it in terms of a r squared? 1 equals r squared. What does r equal? Square root, r is 1. So this right here is your center. You guys try 11. Try 11. Go back to 11.
Okay, so you need to use the formula x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals radius squared. So this is your x center and your y center, and so you have to find out. So your h, wait, hold on. So your center is going to be a 1 because it's a minus, so it's actually a positive. So you put that on there, and then there's no second part to this one, so it's a 0. So you put it right there, and then you take the square root of 25 and you get 5. So you count up 5 and down 5 and sideways 5 and the other way 5 and then you draw your circle, which I can't draw circles, so
Why do you have to square 25?
because it is r squared, so you have to make it into the radius. So 5 equals the radius.
Alright, so these are going to be the hardest ones. If you can do a type like this, you're in good shape. So the circle, I'm going to use this formula. X minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. And then what I am not given anything really. I'm not given the center and I'm not given the radius. Those are the two things I need. But I am given this, ends of a diameter. What that means is you've got an end and an end. Diameter, if I draw a picture, goes through the center, but it goes edge to edge. So I need the middle of this line. This is what I want. That's my center. So to find the center, I'm going to find the middle of my x's. So a -19 plus a -11 is going to be a -30. Half of that, I'm going to take the average. So my center is going to be at -15. Now my y's, oh, is that the same? -12 and -18 is a -30. Divided by 2, I think it's the same. So -15. So there's my h, there's my k. Now I just have to find the r. R is going to be your radius. So your radius is going to come from either the center to this dot or the center to this dot. So it does not matter, but I must use the center. I've got to use -15, -15. Okay, the other dot is either going to be this one, that's an end point, or this end point, and it does not matter. So I'm going to use this end point, -11, -18. Okay, I've got to find the distance between those 2 points. Distance is just a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So I'm going to find the distance between this and this, the distance between my x's, and I'm going to say that's my a. So it's going to be a -15 subtract -11, and what is that? -4. So that's my a. So it's going to be a -4 squared plus b, the distance between your y's. negative 15 subtract negative 18, and that is going to be, that's going to be plus 18. So negative 15 plus 18, is that 3 positives? That's my B, equals c squared. So I'm going to have 16 plus 9 equals c squared. 16 plus 9 is 25 equals c squared. Square root the left, square root the right. So your radius is 5. Okay, if your radius is 5 and your center is negative 15, your circle is going to be x minus h, which is negative 15 squared. That's a plus. 2 minus is a plus. Plus y minus a minus 15 squared equals 5 squared. There you go. That is the hardest problem on the whole test. Let's do one more. Let's do this one. Okay, all you need is the center. They give it to you. That's your H. That's your K. So, look, drop picture. If they give you the center and they give you a point on a circle, so your point on a circle is going to be there. Circle is going to be something like that. I want to find the distance between my center and my point on the circle. So I'm going to do the distance formula. I'm going to find the distance between these guys. So I subtract them. Negative 16 minus negative 15. And I square it. That is a negative 1 squared plus the distance between these two guys. So you subtract them. 15 minus 17 squared. That is negative 2 squared equals c squared. So a negative 1 squared is 1. A negative 2 squared is 4. So 5 equals c squared. C equals square root 5. That's your R. So we got the center, we got the radius equals square root 5. So your formula is going to be x plus 16 squared plus y minus 15 squared equals c squared, square root of 5 squared. Square root of 5 squared. These two are inverses, they just cancel out, so it's going to be 5. So we got x plus 16 squared plus y minus 15 squared. There you go. That's it.